Jesus exists, but not in Christianity. I want to tell you impossible things that are not impossible at all. I speak upon the authority of divine birthright. I am peaceful, but I do not subject to lower earth powers. Justice will come against them, for they have made significant breaches on the divine plane. This higher truth is not for everyone. At some point in my videos, societal secrets or adverse truths, unrevealed, might be exposed. I am not here to challenge the system, but if the divine truth is adverse to you, then whose fault is it? If you dislike what I speak, do not listen. My duty is to tell the truth to those that concern us. They are star children. They have a right to receive when they ask. Leave them alone. Leave us alone. On one dimension of truth, Jesus is the sun in the heavens, or the light giver, and so are we. Every man is a soul or a solar system. Every man who creates thoughts creates light in the order of photons and atoms, and creations of light become universes, great or small. Listen up and see God. Every one of us is a creator of a universe filled with intelligent entities. I mean this literally. Imagine a living thing, give it a name, and it exists in the reality at that frequency of that very thought. I kid you not. Similarly, our existence is very much like a hologram. Jesus, who I am and whom you are, is the sun in the sky, which goes up to its zenith, then down at the equinox, to that cross on the horizon, to disappear in darkness before resurrecting to light and the morning again. This is a cosmic template that speaks upon the cycles ascribed for every single living soul. He faces his darkness and goes through the night in darkness. This is the cycle of every ray of light, every soul of man, or every light being, and that you are. This is the light of your inheritance, and everything that is Jesus, everything that is Christ, is your personal legacy given to you by the universe. This is the awesome power, which is God itself, bestowed on you, the individual. Yet, on another dimension, Jesus is a man who never dies. Even if the individual dies, he lives forever because he is an office. As the prime minister is an office which never dies, and as the president or pope is an office that never dies. This is the perspective that I wish to enlighten you with the most, just to start. Jesus is the embodiment of the empath who speaks the anomaly, daring to say the truth. Jesus is everywhere. The light child of the sun illuminates. I will bring clarity that everything I tell you about reincarnation and God wisdoms are exactly what Jesus teaches every single time. Even when you read between the lines of the lies in the Bible, this will come as a shock to many. They use the teachings of the light bearers, who are all the Christ of God, to make the God spells, and by these God spells they confuse, misinform, and shepherd zombified humans. They declare to the dead carcass that once was the Son of God. You were so great, but now you are dead. How has the mighty fallen? You are a fallen angel. You are now the devil in darkness. The powers that used to be in ages past will return at the return of these ages. This respite phase in Aquarius is a short one of 2000 years, but it is a chance for ascension, and many of you are knocking at the doors. By being aware, you will keep useful memories of this afterlife to the next, and then you will be the empath, not disconnected from your own eternity as now you are. To say that there comes nothing after the present afterlife is a brutal abuse. There are people among you, although so few, that if they speak, you will ridicule them. I am not seeing silence as serving any good purpose. This is why I stand in this truth. I will speak stories you read about Jesus or that you read about Jesus to make comparisons with the words of the empaths you ridicule. For this lesson, they will come from books like the Essene Gospels, Sophia Wisdoms, or the Gospel of the Holy 12. These books are less tampered and are more clear in their teachings. These are the exact things we teach every day, and we do not teach symbolic human sacrifices or God forgiving anyone so that they can stay stuck in their evil ways. We teach about the cycles and how to manage our encounters to create good karma for the next life or even in this life. These are all the same things that Jesus taught. I cannot put you inside my mind and make you see these truths instantaneously. I cannot expose you to my personal experiences from my perspective. I can search for words to explain them to you, and if you are ready, they will resonate and become you. You are going to a new age. We are at the threshold of paradise, but not everyone will make it in this cycle. I come to talk to those that called me and the legions of ancestors to come and speak. We are here, and we show no respect for conventional lies. If these things will hold our children in darkness, new things will happen in the new age. New light will shine and new ways to know the truth will appear. However, these new things are simply the return of the great old ones. The most impossible thing that you will see is the coming of many empaths as I am. This is just the beginning. Let me pause and ask you to like this video and even hit the bell icon to help me get noticed on YouTube. That will be very appreciated. Now, let's continue with it. If you could see into my mind, you could see my memories. You would see where I obtained my knowledge and that many were not taught to me but recalled. This is the anomaly, and this anomaly is a higher light for you. To stand in the face of ridicule and say all of this is a sacrifice for you. I bet that if you could see your past life, you would understand the cycles. And if you could walk inside my head and see many past lives and lessons from former gods that rule this plane, you would be amazed. You would know that truth is higher than you think. Your teachers depend on their minds, but only from a mundane perspective, trying to put two and two together, but there is limited information which they claim bring them to true conclusions. We depend on memory and experience. We need no one to tell us about Jesus or heaven or hell, for we know all these things absolutely. But no, many of you are seen as the rebels, the criminals, and the scumbags of society because of your frustrations, and that you will retaliate against that sense of injustice which you live with every day and you feel in your stomach. You know something is wrong, that you are being lied to, but you cannot put your finger on what it is. You listen to the words they tell you with your ears, but you obey them in the opposite way, and you do not know the secret of polarization. They tell you words in your ear that turns opposite in your mind, and these secrets you must know in order to break free. I am not here fighting against any order or people that conspire to anything. We all conspire. The universe conspires. Conspiracy is the modus operandi of our natural universe. I am only here because our ancestors have their rights to their own children. You shall no longer take what is not yours. Demand a change from violence and fear, people. Demand a change from violence and fear. Ask those that manage the societal order, for they have the power to stop these things as they hold onto that rock, a spiritual edifice which is higher than the people. They can create new cultures in short spaces of time. The past experience with COVID should have taught you this. New norms are very easy for governments to create. Demand peace and prosperity without them destroying your children. Let them put their sorceries to good use. But see now, I tell you these things that government can very easily do, and you believe that I am impossible because I cannot spare the day to explain the scientific proof. This is the problem. You have sunken so deep that there are too many words to say to get to you. Oh, you do not know how deep in you are. They can easily say, I am telling you false and impossible things that are not scientifically provable, and even the science is obvious. Even the science is obvious, but you will believe them. They prescribed a pill of dependency and them for definition to you, and you swallowed the overdose in your zealous fortitude. You have gone into this bottomless pit and you are wailing and digging down deeper to get out. At so many times, in so many ways, we the empathic ones try to explain all these mysteries to you, but it gets stuck in translation. The reason why it gets so hard to communicate is because most of the times words are not available. You were not afforded the compatible vocabulary. They confuse and limit your vocabulary because you do not have words to open your eyes to certain perspectives. We must figure and craft 10 paragraphs to explain every line of reason we put before you. It takes everlasting long to tell you a line because we must explain each word of every line in the context of obvious truths in plain view that you will not see until a spell is broken. We have to break a spell, tell a line, break a spell, and tell a line. This is why this truth takes so long in coming to you. You must allow us to remove these spells. We go round and around looking for the right angle. We begin here, we move there, and we try all other ways, but it is hard. Even those stronger, seeking minds among you have found their solace in the conventional template and now take more prescribed views than anything else. We have lost so many in the past, but now the energies are different. Greater children of a greater God are coming to you. I humbly await these great young ones. Some will have faces like the youngest children, but they will speak the wisdom of the ancient gods. There is hope. If it was not so, we would not come to you again. Most of your teachers tell you that Jesus does not exist. This is a third dimensional truth, but it is a lie on the higher levels. They themselves are keeping you stuck. I am not talking about the use or spelling of a name. Give a pattern any name and it remains the same thing as reference as long as it is the one you refer to. Jesus does not exist on the third dimension, but only for two reasons. One, a very true and compatible reality was fabricated to turn Jesus' truth to a God spell. Two, you do not all have the mindset culture to understand things that are fourth dimensional truths. Maybe those who try to understand aspects of quantum physics will find an easier path. Therefore, today I am not talking to everyone. I am talking to the one or two who comes here realizing that this message is easy for them to understand. If you are confused, then listen to your teachers that stay on the lower path. Not even a bird will fly on the first try. Go through your cycles and be faithful to the truth you can conceive. I was blown away when I read Qumran documents about Jesus. I was introduced to an old order that is akin to us. They were saying the same things we said. Note that if there was a teacher in the order, he will always be Jesus to the company of proteges. In the Gospel of the Holy 12, Lection 57, men of doubtful minds inquired of Jesus, "You tell us that our lives and beings are from God, but we have never seen him. Can you show us whom you call the Father, Mother, one God? We do not know if there is any God." Jesus answered with a parable. The fishes in a certain river were debating on where life comes from. Others told them that their lives and beings were from water, but they had never seen this water before and knew nothing of what it was. A smarter one suggested, "We have heard of a wise and learned fish that lives in the sea, who knows all things. Let us go ask him what water is." So they all agreed and sent a delegation to find the wise fish. The traveling group made it to the big sea and found him. They told their story and asked the question. He listened and then said, "Oh, you foolish fishes that do not think. You live in water, move in water, and your being is of water. You came from water and will return to water, but still you do not know this." Jesus said, "In that same way, you live in God and yet ask me to show you God. God is in all things and all things in God." We always try to teach you that you live in water, but do not know you live in water, because it is not as dense as that of the river or seas. We always try to tell you that you live in God, but keep asking for proof of God. Just as your DNA is in you and has in one strand all that is you, including your memories, you live in God in similar way with the same divine potentials. We try to tell you that God is not the creator of anything. God is simply the natality that is being and perpetuating the all. It did not have to create the world because it is the inherent world. I already warned that these truths are bordering on the fourth dimensional and might be hard for some of you to grasp. God has to then be both the creature and the creator of the creature. It has to be both the potter and the clay. If you are the clay, then the potter is in you. God is the potter, so who are you? God has to not only be the potter, but also the resource that the potter uses. Nothing can be outside of that which is in itself already the all. Why then do you choose to seek or believe in detachment from God? And again, in one of these same Qumran documents, we also find Jesus being our brother, saying the same words that we get ridiculed to say. On this occasion, there was a man who was born blind. He never saw color or sun or moon before. For this reason, he was adamant, just like your teacher who tells you that this life is all, that there was no damn sun or moon or color. He had no experience of them. He had no memories of them. So he was claiming to rationalize, reason, and using his limited information to prove what he saw as the proper conclusion. I hear many teachers do this every time, and I get goose pimples as I know the evil it does. I sit here remembering my death before I was born and listening to him teaching you that this is not the afterlife. My own mother could testify that I told her where I saw her before I was born. Her reaction was to believe that my source of knowledge must be evil. This is how she was cultivated to think. The last time I was told what would happen, and then it happened exactly that way. My Seventh day Adventist aunt told me that when we believe our ancestors speak to us, it is the devil speaking and pretending to be our ancestors to trick us. Yet, the end result of this message was what protected me. So if her God was not protecting me and the devil had to step in to do the good, who was in the wrong? Besides, had I not listened to the message, what would have become of me? You see, this is how they are cultivated to think, even if it means to make good the evil and evil the good. Anything they will do to make us, the empires who slip through the crack and not into the abyss with the masses, give up and delight. We already belong to the upper room, and this must be respected. No, Jesus went to this blind man who could not conceive the existence of sun, moon, stars, or even color, and healed him. When he opened his eyes and saw color and the sun and all beauty, he was ecstatically joyful that he exclaimed, I can see, I can see, I know all things, I am God. Jesus cautioned him, but also to give a wisdom of enlightenment which you who listen now should take. Jesus said, why do you believe you are God? You cannot see through the walls of your house. You cannot remember your past life, your conception, or your birth, yet already you believe you are God. A lesson for the wise. He did not say you cannot be God. But until you can remember your past life, your conception and your birth, how will you connect the dots to bring you face to face with eternity if you cannot see in fourth or fifth dimensional scales, which equates to seeing beyond the walls of your home? How will you perceive enough to be the God you will become? You already say that God is your Father in heaven, and if you have children, you know they must grow to become like you. Do you know that as above, so below? There is another thing that this masterful Bible contradicting Jesus said in the Qumran documents. He said that those that cry because someone died are selfishly lamenting their loss in that other person's gain. He said that it is better to cry at someone's birth. We always teach that you come to this life to face the karma you hold, and it is a challenging task. On one side, you come to live, but when you come to live, you come to evil, and therefore the latter is the right word, because karma is what you will see as a reflection in the mirror. When you leave this life, your labor is done, and you go back to live, and this time it is to live and not turned around. I hope you get something from this. It seems contradictory, but there is something in it. He also said that you must take note that a person who dies is going to be born in a next life, and the incoming ones died in another life and are coming back to their challenges here. Yes, these are the words of Jesus, not mentioned in the Bible. Jesus is all people like us who have been saying these things forever. If you store up your treasures in heaven, meaning to cleanse and justify your soul to goodness, truth, and beauty, then you earn your higher place in the sun. The same things we speak is what they turn upside down to make Christian and other religious God spells. I want to finish by stealing the thought of the finers handing to you a meaning to your life. This is the greatest thing that stops you. No matter what you have, you want more. Are you no matter how high you climb, you want to go higher. You want to go to the highest degree to perfection. But remember you say that God alone is perfect. If you aspire to be perfect, then it simply means that you purpose to become God. That is your purpose. Whether you admit it or not, you want to become God. To be conscious is to have a life. It is the one and only meaning. There can be no other meaning. Life itself is meaning. Everything else is semantic. I said that life has no meaning. Life does not need to have a meaning. It is only that to be conscious simply means that you will give meaning to whatever you choose, whenever and wherever you choose. If you let others prescribe a meaning to you, then you are acting as someone else's subconscious slave. For he is conscious of his will for you, but you are not consciously making your own meaning of it. I will tell you this again. Most of this earth population is zombified without knowing it. How many will be saved in this cycle is an uncertain figure. The things I say to you reflect the patterns and formulas conspicuous in the wider universes and the little worlds around you. Yet I become the impossible man. You see the formula in the photon, the atom, and the sun, great and small, in their same cycles. But you say that you are too practical to believe something that is based on presumption. You see the suns, the solar forces, the soul flames of the heavens mastering in their galaxies as an atom performs exactly the same way in the identical heaven in the human frame, but you say you don't see a thing. The wonderful great sun and all small suns, from the infinitely small to infinitely large in all their universes, from the infinitely small to the infinitely large, do this perpetual cycle and order it into law in the all, and you still can't see the cycles. You breathe in and out and you perpetuate the cycles. You do not see how souls breathe in and out to perpetuate their cycles as there is sunrise and sunset. Water resides in multiple dimensions, including as the air we breathe, but you believe that fishes live in water and you do not. The water moves from one dimension of existence to the other. It moves because of frequency ranges. It is hot and goes to the invisible realm, and then it is cold and becomes solid. But it always exists and always moves through its cycles. You come from all the same elements, but you think you are different. You see these acts of perpetual motion that has never blinked once in a billion years, and you say you want more proof that it is the universal constant. You see the cycles in the seasons, infinitely small and infinitely large, the ages, infinitely small to infinitely large, with one principle that as above, so below, but you don't see a thing. You see ruins of past lives thousands of years ago, and explorers digging up technologies greater than we know today. And we seem to be the primitive ones in this modern age, but you see nothing of the perpetual cycle. Let me tell you something about yourself. Think about it for an hour, and you will see how well I know you. If this were possible, and if you see a man raise the dead today, and you knew that it was a dead rotting corpse, so yes, it was raised. By next year, this time, you will fall back into forgetfulness. You will reclaim a mindset that says the same thing is impossible. You will forget that you already proved it to be true. This is the zombified state of the race. This is how hard it is to help. Please hit the like button and the bell icon as you go. Peace out.